Picture this. You are Commander Dan Daspit of the USS Tinosa. It's July 24th, 1943. Staring you right in the face is the juiciest target of your entire career. The Tonin Maru no Thray, a massive 19,000-ton Japanese oil tanker. It's sitting dead in the water. No escorts, no movement. It's basically a beached whale whispering to you, "Hey American boy, paint me like one of your French girls, and then blow me up." Daspit gives the order. Fire. 2 torpedoes streak through the water. Everyone holds their breath, counting the seconds, and boom. Wait, no, there is no boom. There's only a dry, hollow clank. Daspit can't believe his eyes. He repositions the sub, checks every calculation. He fires another one. Clank? He fires a 4th, a 5th, a 6th. In total, that day, Daspit fired 15 Mark 14 torpedoes at that stationary target. The result? 11 confirmed hits, and 0 explosions. The Japanese ship eventually just fixed itself and sailed away, leaving the American captain standing there, gripping the periscope so hard his knuckles turned white, muttering words that would definitely get this video demonetized. Welcome back. That story wasn't fiction. That was the cold, hard reality of the Mark 14 torpedo, a weapon called the pride of the US Navy. But in reality, it was the greatest lemon in military history. How did an industrial superpower like the USA create a torpedo that cost as much as a Rolls-Royce but had the reliability of a bicycle with no brakes? The answer fits into one word: bureaucracy. And the lesson today will make anyone working in manufacturing, software, or management shudder. The price of cutting corners on quality control is paid in blood. Let's rewind to the 1930s. America is in the Great Depression. Money is as scarce as water in the Sahara. In this context, the Navy's Bureau of Ordnance, let's call them BOR, developed the Mark 14. On paper, it was a masterpiece. Steam turbine engine, 46 knots, carrying a warhead filled with high explosive torpex. But the real selling point was its secret weapon, the Mark 6 exploder. The BUARD engineers sitting in their air-conditioned offices in Newport came up with a genius idea. Why hit the side of the ship? The armor there is thick. Let's make the torpedo swim under the ship where there is no armor and detonate via magnetic influence. The explosion under the keel would create a massive gas bubble, snapping the ship's spine in half. Sounds cool, right? Extremely cool. And the price for each of these bad boys? $10,000 back then? Adjusted for inflation. That's about $180,000 to $200,000 today. Yes, every time you pressed the fire button, you were shooting a nice suburban house at the enemy. Because it was so expensive, BUARD made a decision that belongs in the Hall of Fame of stupidity. Hey, these torpedoes are pricey. Don't test them. If we test them, we lose the torpedo. Just trust our math. Math never lies. And so, the Mark 14 went into mass production without ever being live-fired tested with a real warhead. They saved a few $1 million on testing, but they were about to burn billions of dollars and thousands of lives in the war. When World War II broke out, US submarine captains were eager to take this super weapon into battle. And then the nightmare began. The Mark 14 didn't just have one flaw. It had 3 major flaws, lining up one by one to troll the users. Flaw number 1, the defector running too deep. MC. Right from the start, captains reported, we see the torpedo wake, it's beautiful, it goes straight for the ship, and then it passes harmlessly under the hull. Turns out, the Mark 14 ran about 10 to 12 feet deeper than set. You set it to 10 feet to hit a destroyer. It dives to 20 feet and says hello to the fish. Flaw number 2, the traitor, the magnetic exploder. MC. After captains took matters into their own hands and set the depth to 0 to compensate, they hit problem number 2, premature explosion. The torpedo wouldn't even touch the enemy. It would get halfway there, hit a wave, or just get moody and be, OM, explode in the middle of the ocean. The Japanese ships would wake up, spot the US sub, and drop depth charges on them. Turns out, the Earth's magnetic field in the Pacific is different from Newport, Rhode Island. BUARD never tested it at the equator. Once again, Buard said, "User error. It's a feature, not a bug." Flaw number 3. The pillow punch contact exploder failure. MC. This is the peak of frustration. By 1943, Admiral Lockwood, commander of Submarines Pacific Fleet, had enough. He ordered, "Disable the magnetic junk. Use the classic contact exploder. Hit, and boom. Simple." And that leads us back to the USS Tinosa story at the start. The Mark 14 hit the ship at a perfect 90-degree angle, did not explode. Can you believe this? The engineers designed the firing pin mechanism to be too heavy with too much friction. Upon a hard impact 90 degrees, the pin would jam tight and fail to strike the primer. Ironically, if you shot it at a bad angle, a glancing blow, the impact was softer and it would actually work. Which means the better your aim, the higher your chance of failure. It's like the universe was playing a prank. Folks, the Mark 14 disaster wasn't just technical. It was a disaster of blame culture. The Bureau of Ordnance refused to admit they were wrong. They protected their baby at all costs to save face and their jobs. They blamed the brave submariners for being incompetent. But Admiral Charles Lockwood wasn't having it. He refused to let his boys go out and die with broken toys. Lockwood did what Buard didn't do. Scientific experiments. First, the fishnet test. To prove the torpedo ran deep, he fired a torpedo through a fishing net in open water. The hole in the net proved it was running deep. Buard, silence. Second, the drop test. To prove the contact exploder was a dud, Lockwood dropped dummy torpedoes from a crane onto a steel plate. The result? 7 out of 10 times, the firing pin jammed. Buard, silence part 2. Only when Lockwood slammed undeniable evidence onto the table did the Bureau finally bow their heads. They realized that by simply changing the material of the firing pin from steel to a lighter aluminum alloy and machining it slightly differently, the problem was solved. Do you know how much that fix cost? A few cents? And a few hours of labor? For the sake of those few cents, the US Navy wasted the first 2 years of the war. By late 1943, after the Mark 14 was finally fixed, it transformed from a useless metal log into the assassin of the deep. US submarines began to annihilate the Japanese merchant fleet. They cut off Japan's oil, food, and raw materials. By 1945, the Japanese economy had collapsed, largely due to the submarine blockade. The Mark 14 finally did its job, but the price paid for the delay was far too high. So, what is the lesson here? The Mark 14 is a classic example of the saying, if you think quality control QC is expensive, try calculating the cost of failure. The US Bureau of Ordnance committed the cardinal sins that many companies still commit today. Lab testing does not equal production reality. Ego over evidence, refusing to listen to end-user feedback. Short-term savings, long-term disaster. Saving money on testing torpedoes, but wasting entire submarines and crew lives. Next time your boss says, let's skip testing, just release it to meet the deadline. Send them this video. Or tell them the story of Captain Daspit and his 15 duds. Don't let your product become the next Mark 14. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, smash that like and subscribe button so I can afford better video equipment, not torpedoes. See you next time.